Okay, so first, before I start this session, um, as you can see over here, I'm using Dev C++. Dev C++. I highly advise everyone to have this installed in your laptop, and it will be better for you to follow along and do some problems by yourself, as it will really help you to write programs of your own. So we're going to start with the basics, and with the basics I mean every problem contains all these simple statements, right? We have the hash include iostream, hash include conio.h, using namespace std. Okay, this is optional, but for this C++ version we require this. We have the int main function, we have a statement, we have get ch and return. Now most of you might not know why we use all of these statements, right? So before we get into it, I'll start by saying about the basic parts of a program. The first part is where you initialize all your header files. Now what exactly is a header file is, it's basically a library, or it's basically a reference book, right? It means iostream, hash include iostream means that you're telling C++, this whole program, you're telling it to include that book into its knowledge or into its brain. In a way you can tell it like that, right? That is what this whole part of the program does. Now int main, as this name main suggests, main is the main component of your program. The main statements, the main function all happens in this space, right? As you can notice, after each statement there's a semicolon. That shows that that statement has terminated. Now we'll look at the importance of these header files. Now just imagine I'm not including this header file. I'm adding two slashes, which makes this comment, right? A comment is a part of the program that C++ as a whole skips. It does not read through it. Okay, so I made this as a comment. So essentially this entire statement is not part of the program right now. I'm not including iostream.h. I'm trying to execute this program. It shows an error, and what the error shows is, over here you can see cout was not declared in the scope, right? So from this error we can understand that iostream.h deals with cout and cin statements, any input and output, right? Input, that's the I of iostream, and output, O of iostream. Any input and output statements, if it has to work, you need the iostream.h function, the header file. Now what about conio.h? If you're not including that in the program, you can see getch was not declared in the scope. Getch right here. For getch and some other functions you require conio.h. So these two are the base header files that is required. Now you might ask, what is the requirement of getch, right? Let's just not put getch. Wait, first I'll execute the program with getch, right? See, whatever I typed has come, and I have pressed enter and then done. That's it. Now if I'm not putting getch, what essentially happens is it directly reaches, the program actually terminates over there itself. This version of C++ has this default statement that comes after the program. That's why you have this press any key to continue. But if that was not there, you would not see the hey, because getch basically tells us that, or gives an order to the computer telling that it can only exit the program until we type in a random key, right? So getch basically accepts some kind of input from the user. Only after that, or only after the computer gets any input from the user, that means I have to type in one letter or one alphabet or anything, only after that it will go to the next statement. So that is why we use getch. It makes the end part of the program a little more defined, or you can see whatever happens before it, right? That's what the getch is used for. Now why we are returning 0 over here is that in computer language 1 is a yes and 0 is a no. As you can see, this whole thing is a function, right? A function has three major parts. One is the function's return value, the function's name, and the function's parameter. Here we don't have any parameter between the braces, right? Main is the name of the function and int is the return value. And what the return value does is, if you write a return 0 here, the program, after everything has taken place, it returns the value 0, which tells us that, or which tells the computer that, see, the program has finished. Now I'm giving you full permission to exit. So that is basically the basics of C++ programming. Every single complex program will contain these basic statements. Now, before we can start doing programs properly, we need to know certain basic concepts, right? Now, the concept we are going to study in this video is about loops. Now, as the name suggests, a loop is any mechanism which repeats again and again and again until a condition is satisfied. So in C++ we have three types of loops. One is a for loop, one is a while loop, and one is a do while loop. Okay, let us look at each type of these loops one by one. Just a simple example is what I'm going to show right now. So the aim of the program that I'm going to make right now is to print the statement hey 10 times. So the syntax of this is for, okay, you have the for, this is a for loop, okay, so for int I, I'm initializing means you're giving an initial value for any random variable you are defining, right? So int, integer value I is first value 0. Now you want this loop to happen 10 times, for hey to be repeated 10 times in the screen. So for that you need to either give the value from 0 to 9. If you count 0 to 9, there are 10 values, or you should give from 1 to 10, right? So I'm going to give from 0 to 9, right? So that can be given by for int I equals to 0, I less than equals to 9. I less than equals to 9, as long as I is either 9 or less than it. That means it can be any value from 0 to 9, right? Or an easier effective method is to give less than 10. So it does not reach 10, but it reaches all the way till 9. And then you are incrementing the value, giving it I plus plus. Okay. Now if I'm executing, you get hays all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 hays, and exactly that is what we want from our program. Now a quick lesson in giving basic aesthetic appeal to your program is by addition of /t's. If you add a /t, it's like pressing the tab button in your keyboard, right? Let's just execute the program and see what happens when you put /t. See, there are small gaps in between each word, right? Now in the same time, if I'm putting /n, with the tag /n, and I'm executing, see, it comes one under the other. So /t is for tab and /n is equivalent of an enter sign. So this is the for loop, right? It's a pretty simple concept for a simple program like this, right? Using for loops is very easy, it's very simple. You can use it anywhere you want. Now we are going to look at the same program but using while. Now while, instead of writing all this, while has a very simple syntax. You just have to write while and a conditional statement. Now the conditional statement is any statement put inside this bracket over here, where I'm just randomly typing. Over there, any statement you can put. And this loop, the whole loop repeats while this condition is satisfied. The moment this condition is not satisfied, the loop stops. That is how it works. Okay. Now over here I'm going to give while I, and before that I'm going to write int I equals to 10. Equals to 10. I'm assigning I has a value of 10, and I'm writing while of I. Now while of I means, okay, as I said in the earlier part of this video, in C++, 0 means no, and any other non-zero integer means yes. Preferably 1 means yes. So this statement says that as long as I, right, while I means as long as I is not 0. As long as that happens, this loop will get executed. Now to understand this, we'll execute it just like this, and I'm going to put the value of I also, right? Over here in this program, if you notice, I is 10 and I's value does not change anywhere, right? So this loop will happen as long as I's value is not 0, and I's value is never going to be 0 if no change happens to I. So essentially you have created an infinite loop. I compile and run this program, and we can see that this loop goes on forever. Look at this, it does not stop. That's called an infinite loop. We did not give any a condition where I's value reduces, so that this condition will make sense. So what we do is, we basically want to print it 10 times, right? So 10 to 0, that means 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Until then we have 10 iterations, and that's what we need. As when it hits 0, this loop stops, right? So I'm just giving an enter sign over here for aesthetic purposes only, and I'm writing minus minus I, which says that, see, starting if my value is 10 over here, okay, 10 and becomes 10, and then over here as soon as it passes this program, I becomes 9, then over here it becomes 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and when it reaches 0, when it comes over here, while of 0, it is not true, so it terminates, the loop stops working, and then get CHS executed, and once you type, the program is completed. Let's see how it turned out. See, look over here, I's value was 10, so 1 hay came. I's value is 9, 1 hay came. Like that all the way till 1 value came. As soon as it became 0, the loop terminated, and hence no more hays were printed. And last we have the do while loop. Now the do while loop is just same, very similar to the while loop, right? The only thing is we write do here and we write the while over here. Now the highlight of this program is, if you ask what's the difference between do while and while, the only simple single difference between while and do while is, while it executes whatever number of steps we tell it to. In do while, the first step is executed without checking for any condition. As you can see, the computer first looks at the do, okay fine, it looks at the statement, it executes, then only it checks the condition, and then it goes back and does the whole loop again. So in do while, one iteration always happens, while as in the case of while, it never happens. Like as long as the condition satisfies only, it will execute the loop. Sometimes the condition may not satisfy at all, that time the loop will not get executed. But in this case, even if the condition is not satisfied, one iteration of the loop, or the loop will happen at least once. That's the difference between do while and while. Let's see what happens. We get the same output, right? So while, do while, and for loop, these three are variations of the same output we get. As you can notice, the only thing that changed is the syntax and the compactness. Now in bigger programs, it might be easier to use while instead of writing or giving parameters for the for loop. But it's always up to you people. If you want to use for, if it's convenient for you, by all means. If you want to use while, by all means. If you want to use do while, by all means. It all depends on you. And finally, I'm going to teach you about the difference between ++i, that is the pre-increment, and I++, that is the post-increment. In common words or layman terms, if you want to understand this, plus plus I means first the addition happens, then anything else will happen. Okay, I plus plus means first i's value is checked, or whatever you want to do with I, that happens first, then only the addition happens. Very simple concept. So to illustrate that, I have a small program. I have written the integer value I equals to 2. Okay, fine, and I have said that j is also an integer. First, I am counting the value of I. Okay, the first value of I, I'll write here primary value of I. Okay, of I was I itself. Okay, and then I'm writing j equals to plus plus I. So according to my definition at the start, j equals to plus plus I means first addition happens, then whatever happens to I happens here. So whatever happens, whatever is happening to I is that its value is getting assigned to j, right? So plus plus I means I first becomes 3, one more addition from 2. From 2 over here, I was 2 before. From 2, first addition happens. First it becomes 3, and then it gets added to j. So j is 3 and I is also 3. Let's execute and see how it is. See, primary value of I was 2. J is 3, I is 3. Okay, let's put a space here. Is right. Just for you to see it once again. Primary value of I is 2. Okay, j is equal to 3, I equals to 3. Fine. Now what will happen if I put I plus plus here? According to our definition, first primary value of I was 2. Then first whatever happens to I happens first according to our definition. So whatever is happening to I is j is getting I's value. So I has not incremented one value yet. Okay, so here first j gets I's current value, which is still 2. Okay, only after that addition happens. Right after that 2 becomes 3. So here j's value will become 2 and I's value will become 3. Let's see if that's what is happening. See, primary value of I was 2, j's value is 2, I's value is 3. So to summarize, from what all we learned from increment, post and pre, for post what happens is first whatever happens to the variable occurs and only after that increment occurs. Whereas in pre, first the increment occurs and then whatever action that is happening on the variable is required, that happens right after that. So to summarize the entire video, first we learned about all the libraries, main function, and how the library affects each of the cout, get ch, cin, and all that statements. Then we looked at 3 types of loops, that is for loop, while loop, and do while loop, right? And the basic difference in syntax between all the 3 of them. And finally we looked at post incrementing and pre incrementing. So that's it for the first video.